Hey there, night owl. If you're hearing this, it's probably way past a respectable bedtime. The world is quiet, your room is dim, and you've decided that the best way to fall asleep is to listen to someone calmly describe the many ways life as a pirate was a slow-motion nightmare. Not the kind with eyeliner and witty banter, not the Johnny Depp variety where the rum is a metaphor. I mean real pirates. Crusty, cranky, chronically sunburnt people floating around in leaky wooden coffins, smelling faintly of despair and smoked fish. So, before we shove off, do what the cool bedtime people do. Dim your lights, get under something warm, maybe tuck your feet in, just in case the imaginary rats are feeling adventurous tonight. Take a deep breath. And remember, on a pirate ship, nobody brushed their teeth, everyone had fleas, and personal space was just a fairy tale whispered by people who could still read. So subscribe to the channel and share with your loved ones. To ease the life of a pirate, subscribe. It helps a lot. Let's begin. You wake up to the sound of creaking wood, the splash of distant waves, and a smell that could be described only as historical. The ceiling above you is close enough to count every splinter, which is good, because you'll be counting them a lot. You're not sleeping much tonight. Your bed is a wooden shelf. No pillow, no blanket, no hope. Just you, your own arm, currently serving as a numb, slightly damp pillow, and a colony of shipboard fleas that have declared diplomatic immunity. Someone is snoring beside you so loud it could double as a weather report. Every exhale smells like rum and regret. Another voice mutters something about Spanish gold, and then lets out a cough that sounds like it could summon seagulls. You turn your head and immediately regret it. There's a wall 6 inches from your face and a damp elbow in your ribs. Congratulations! You're in pirate economy class. The air is heavy, part sea breeze, part human, part mystery. Imagine a sauna made of onions, old rope, and low morale. You shift slightly, and the entire bunk groans like it's questioning your life choices. Below you, something scurries. You tell yourself it's a dream. You tell yourself that a lot out here. Around you, the rest of the crew begins to stir, a chorus of yawns, grunts, and creative scratching. Someone hawks onto the floor. Someone else steps in it. Nobody cares. The wood is damp anyway. Everything is damp, including you, especially you. You try to stretch, but there's nowhere to go. The man to your left rolls over, draping an arm across your face that smells like fermented shoe polish. You consider biting it. Instead, you just accept that this is your life now. It's warm, sticky, and vibrating slightly, either from the ship rocking or the collective snoring of 50 exhausted men. The ship tilts. Everyone slides 1 inch to the left. You slide too. There's a brief human avalanche. Someone swears. Someone laughs. Someone passes gas. You stare up at the ceiling again, wondering if maybe being hanged for stealing bread would have been the better career move. Welcome to pirate life. No rules, no comfort, no refunds. Eventually, someone yells something that sounds like, "Up ye dogs!" and the day begins. You crawl out of your bunk, stepping into a puddle that could be seawater or human tears. Doesn't matter. It's wet. It's yours now. The good news, you survived the night. The bad news, you can smell yourself. On land, you might enjoy a warm shower, maybe some soap, maybe even a towel that isn't alive. Here, you get 2 options: salt water or no water. You line up along the ship's rail with the other mourning zombies, each clutching a handful of hope. The sea glitters beautifully below, a reminder that beauty and pain are often the same thing. You dip your hands in, splash your face, and immediately regret every life decision that led to this moment. The water is cold, like instant brain freeze, but for your soul. It's also textured. There are chunks. You decide not to think about what the chunks are. You scrub your cheeks, rub at your neck, and manage to remove a layer of grime only to reveal another, older layer of grime, like pirate archaeology. A few ambitious souls are brushing their teeth by chewing on bits of rope or frayed wood. One guy is using a chicken feather. Dental care, but make it medieval. You consider trying the same, but your hardtack biscuit from yesterday looks about as abrasive as sandpaper, so you just gnaw on that instead. No deodorant, no soap, just sweat, sun, and optimism slowly dying in the heat. One man rubs himself with a lemon peel he's been hoarding for weeks. Everyone else stares at him like he's royalty. And the bathroom? Well, the entire ocean is the bathroom. You pick a spot at the railing, do your business, and try very hard to not think about the direction of the wind or the jellyfish. You rinse your hands in the same sea that just witnessed your crimes. The salt stings, the smell stays. You shrug and call it clean. There, you're refreshed. Sort of. Welcome to the pirate morning routine. Salt, shame, and exfoliation by Barnacle.
It's breakfast time, which sounds hopeful until you remember where you are. The cook appears, if cook means a man whose main qualification is owning a knife and not being dead yet. He slaps a slab of something vaguely food-shaped onto a table and calls it hardtack. Imagine someone baked a brick out of flour, seawater, and crushed dreams, then left it in the sun until it achieved sentience. That's your breakfast. You give it a polite knock against the table. It does not respond. You knock harder. Still nothing. You consider using it as a weapon or a coaster. Every bite is a dental adventure. Your jaw aches. Somewhere, a tooth quietly resigns. You notice a few black specks moving on the surface. Protein, probably. A pirate's multivitamin. To wash it down, you receive a tin mug of something called water. The color could best be described as ancient bronze. It smells like the inside of an old boot that once contained a ghost. You sip. It fights back. A few optimists attempt to soften their biscuits by dunking them in the water. The biscuit wins. Around you, the crew munches in silence, eyes vacant, jaws moving in slow defiance of nature. Someone tells a joke about using hardtack as cannonballs. Nobody laughs. It's too believable. Occasionally, a lucky soul produces a personal treasure, a lemon wedge, a raisin, a fragment of salted pork that looks like a witch cursed it. These are traded like gemstones. You'd offer a year of your life for one decent piece of bread. Unfortunately, you'll probably lose that year to scurvy instead. Congratulations, breakfast is over. You are both nourished and spiritually defeated.
Someone rings a bell. Time for roll call. The crew gathers on deck, a congregation of bleary eyes and peeling sunburns. Everyone leans slightly, not because of the ship's tilt, but because none of them remembers what standing upright feels like. The captain emerges, theatrical as always, coat flapping, hat large enough to host a small ecosystem. He's holding a list that nobody believes contains actual names. He shouts each one anyway, and the crew responds with various grunts that could mean here, still alive, or please let me die. You try to look alert. The man beside you scratches a rash shaped like South America. Another coughs up something that might legally qualify as a new species. The captain finishes reading and glares across the group like a disappointed schoolteacher. He announces the day's assignments. Someone will patch sails, someone will clean weapons, and you, lucky you, are on deck swabbing duty. A ripple of pity passes through the group. Deck duty is less about cleanliness and more about surviving the experience. You nod bravely, which is to say, you try not to faint. Before dismissing the crew, the captain delivers a brief motivational speech about honor, loyalty, and not touching his private stash of brandy. The crew listens politely, already plotting how to find his private stash of brandy.
You collect your weapon, a long wooden brush that looks like it last saw action during the Crusades. Your bucket of soapy seawater sloshes ominously. The soap smells faintly of regret and possibly whale. The deck is a mosaic of stains. Fish guts, tar, something red, something green, and a patch that defies description but seems to hum slightly when you get close. Your task? Make this look better, or at least less sticky. You push the brush forward, muscles trembling, salt spray in your eyes. The wood beneath your feet is slick and warm from the sun. Every stroke sends up a fresh perfume of rot and nostalgia. A nearby pirate offers encouragement in the traditional maritime style. Scrub faster or I'll feed you to the gulls. You appreciate the feedback. Hours blur together. The sun climbs higher, your skin steams, and the deck grudgingly transitions from filthy to differently filthy. Blisters bloom across your palms like angry little flowers. You wonder if they count as pets. Every so often, a wave crashes over the side and undoes 15 minutes of work. The sea has opinions about your productivity. By midday, you've achieved enlightenment, the kind that only arrives when your body has stopped sending pain signals out of pure exhaustion. You lean on your mop, gazing at the horizon. The line between sky and water shimmers, mocking you with its freedom. You think about home. Then you remember rent. Suddenly, the sea doesn't seem so bad. Before you can rest, someone shouts your name. Rigging duty! You look up. The sails tower above, flapping like massive, angry ghosts. The ropes sway invitingly, if by inviting you mean promising death by gravity. You grab hold and start climbing. The rope is rough, biting into your palms. Below you, the deck shrinks. Above you, a pair of bare feet dangles uncomfortably close. You keep your eyes on the horizon and try not to think about laundry. The wind picks up, whipping your hair into your eyes. Every knot feels like a decision you regret. Your muscles burn. The ship lurches. You swear quietly to every god you can remember. Finally, you reach the crow's nest, a circular platform of wood that creaks like it's auditioning for a horror film. From up here, the world looks vast and indifferent. You can see endless ocean, a few gulls, and one pirate below sneezing directly into the stew pot. Your task is to check the ropes, tighten the line, maybe untangle something that's become intimate with the mast. You do it all with the careful precision of someone who knows one wrong move means starring in the next shark documentary. The view is magnificent in the way danger sometimes is. Blue sky, blue sea, and the faint outline of clouds that might become your next storm. For a brief, dangerous moment, you feel alive. Then the man below sneezes again, and the spell breaks. The climb down is worse. Every muscle protests, your hands sting, and the deck feels a mile away. When you finally hit solid wood again, your knees buckle, and you kiss the planks in gratitude. Someone laughs. You let them. You're too tired to care.
The Caribbean sun does not rise so much as attack.
It climbs into the sky, blazing like an angry landlord, and within minutes, the deck turns into a griddle. You, being new to this lifestyle of suffering, make the rookie mistake of thinking, it can't be that bad. It is that bad. Within the hour, you've transformed from pale and hopeful to something between a lobster and a warning sign. There's no sunscreen. The concept of SPF hasn't been invented. Your only line of defense is fabric, and the only fabric you have is wool, which traps heat like a personal sauna you can't unsubscribe from. The older pirates offer tips, none of which sound like they've ever worked. "Smear lard on yourself," says one. "Stand under the sail's shadow," says another, neglecting to mention that the sail's shadow is about the size of a shoe. Old Pete recommends staying positive, which is, of course, completely useless advice. The ship creaks and groans as if laughing at you. You try to shield your face with your sleeve, but the wind rips it away. Some of the crew look like sun-dried tomatoes with hats. Others simply lie on the deck, sizzling quietly, too dehydrated to complain. At one point, a seagull mistakes your shiny, sweaty forehead for food and dives at you. You bat it away, and it squawks, offended, as if you're the problem. Hours pass. You start to hallucinate shade. Beautiful, imaginary shade. You imagine a cold drink, maybe lemonade, maybe anything that isn't tepid brown water. You'd trade half your ration of rum just to smell aloe vera. By evening, your skin has achieved the rare pirate hue known as burnt coral. The pain is constant, radiating warmth even in the dark. When someone pats your shoulder, you nearly commit a crime. The good news is, you'll never forget sunscreen again. The bad news is, it won't exist for another 200 years. You are not alone on this ship. You share it with a thriving ecosystem of fur, shell, and audacity. Rats are the true captains here. They go where they please, eat what they want, and somehow never fall overboard. They're clever, organized, and slightly judgmental. You drop a crumb, and 6 of them appear out of nowhere like it's a family reunion. Some pirates claim to keep rats as pets. Others just accept them as co-workers. One rat, suspiciously fat and bold, climbs onto a barrel and stares at you. You stare back. It wins. Then there are the cockroaches, immortal, unbothered, and thriving. They scuttle across your plate, through your clothes, occasionally across your face at night. You try not to take it personally. Every now and then, a crab joins the party, crawling in from a fishing bucket or through some mysterious hole in the hull. You once found one in your boot. You named him Gerald. He left you 2 hours later. Commitment isn't really a crab thing. There are stories of ghosts, too. Sailors who never made it home and apparently have nothing better to do than rattle chains in the dark. You don't believe in ghosts, but you do keep a lucky charm under your pillow. It's a chicken bone you call Steve. Steve has not failed you yet. Nighttime symphonies are their own kind of horror. Scratching, squeaking, clicking, skittering. You try to convince yourself it's soothing. You fail. Eventually, you adapt. You shake your boots before putting them on. You tap your biscuit before biting it, just in case it's already occupied. And when you wake up with something small crawling over your face, you just sigh and whisper, "Good morning." Congratulations! You've reached true pirate enlightenment. Coexistence through despair.
The bell rings again. You're told it's lunchtime, though the word lunch feels overly optimistic. The menu? A new and exciting variation on the morning's disaster. Salted meat,
hardtack, and despair. The meat is technically beef, though time and the tropics have turned it into a chewy gray fossil. It's so tough you could resole your shoes with it. You chew, it fights back. Eventually, you declare a draw. The cook ladles out a spoonful of what he calls peas. They look more like green pebbles, but they roll nicely on your plate. You count them, 5 in total, a luxury. The hardtack somehow has gotten worse. It now contains more weevils than flour. The veterans don't bother picking them out. They add protein and, technically, flavor. You take a bite and feel something crunch that probably shouldn't. You tell yourself it was just part of the biscuit. You are wrong. Someone nearby claims their biscuit once cracked open to reveal a note, possibly an apology from the baker. You hope for a similar miracle. Instead, you get splinters. Conversation is limited. Nobody has the energy to talk. You just sit there, jaw clicking, soul leaving your body in stages. One pirate hums a sad little tune. Another tells a story about fresh fruit like it's an ancient myth. You finish your meal, stare at your empty plate, and wonder if you're full or simply numb. Either way, you're ready for dessert, which, surprise, is the taste of regret. Now you're thirsty. Not, I could use a sip thirsty. You're a, I would wrestle a dolphin for a glass of tap water thirsty. The ship's water supply lives in barrels, aging gracefully in the sun. When someone pries one open, the smell hits first. Mold, mildew, and the faint tang of existential crisis. The water itself is brown. It sloshes thickly, as if it's thinking about being soup. You dip your tin cup in, avoiding the floaters. You fail. There are always floaters. Sometimes it's wood. Sometimes it's insect. Once it was something that blinked. You sip anyway. It tastes like metal, decay, and a hint of regretful fish. Your body thanks you and curses you simultaneously. The cook tries to improve the water by boiling it. The result is hot brown water with a rich and smoky undertone of misery. Rum would be an option, but rum is rationed and also responsible for at least half of the ship's bad decisions. Occasionally, a pirate discovers a special barrel. It's labeled fresh. That word means nothing. Inside, there's always something waiting. A frog, a feather, once a full boot. Nobody ever admits how it got there. Everyone drinks around it anyway. After a few days, you stop being picky. You drink whatever's handed to you and tell yourself it's flavor-infused. Hydration, pirate style. By evening, your lips are dry, your throat aches, and you find yourself dreaming about ice cubes, those mythical, frosty squares of comfort that you'll never see again. But, hey, on the bright side, your immune system is becoming a go.
Afternoons at seas stretch like old rope, long, twisted, and slightly sticky. After lunch, there's a silence that isn't peace, so much as collective exhaustion. Nobody has the energy for mutiny before 3 o'clock. The sea sighs against the hull, the wind flaps the sails like lazy applause. Someone yawns so loudly it sounds like the ship is groaning back. Boredom isn't an emotion out here, it's the ship's second mate. When you're not scrubbing or climbing, you're waiting. Waiting for weather, for orders, for something, anything to happen. And when nothing happens, pirates invent something. The first invention is usually an argument. It can start with a look, a grunt, or the tragic disappearance of someone's favorite spoon. Soon it becomes philosophy. Whose knife is sharper? Whose beard has more character? Who once punched a shark? Each claim grows bolder as the sun climbs. Two men square off to prove whose cutlass is keener. Neither uses it for cutting. They just glare at each other's blades until someone declares it a draw. Others take to singing contests. Sea shanty is a generous description. It's mostly yelling that rhymes. The goal isn't harmony, it's endurance. Whoever's still shouting after everyone else loses their voice is declared the winner and sometimes awarded a button. Then come the rash competitions. Every pirate has one. It's practically uniform. One man swears his rash changes color with the tide. Another says his itches only on Tuesdays. They gather around, sleeves up, like botanists admiring rare flowers. You look away before lunch revisits. When all else fails, they gamble, with buttons, pebbles, or pride. The stakes are meaningless. The drama is real. By sundown, someone's angry, someone's crying, and someone's asleep mid-argument. Pirate entertainment, theater of the bored. At least boredom doesn't sink the ship, usually. Cleanliness is next to impossible out here, mostly because clean is a rumor and soap is a myth told to children on land. The ocean sparkles invitingly, but its water is saltier than the crew's vocabulary. Washing with it only transforms sweat into crust. You try anyway, rubbing yourself with seawater like a desperate pickle. Once in a while, the sky takes pity. Rain thunders down, and everyone erupts into chaos. Shirts come off, buckets appear. For 5 glorious minutes, the deck becomes a spontaneous spa. You stand beneath the downpour, shivering, scrubbing with both hands. The runoff looks like tea brewed from dirt and regret. When the storm ends, you're cleaner than you've been in weeks, and then the sun returns, and you instantly ferment again. Teeth? Optional. Some chew rope fibers, others use twigs, a few simply accept that gums are forever. Old Pete claims he cleans his mouth with rum for medicinal reasons. His breath could ignite a cannon. Hair care is another battlefield. Without soap, it evolves, coils, clumps, occasionally moves on its own. Some braid it, some shave it, some wear hats as a form of denial. You catch yourself in a polished bit of brass and decide not to think about it. Your clothes are worse. Salt stiffens them until they stand upright on their own, little haunted versions of their owners. Washing means dragging them behind the ship on a rope. Half the time they sink, the other half they come back smaller. Still, there's a strange equality in the grime. Nobody smells better than anyone else, nobody wants to. You stop noticing after a while. Your nose gives up and files for early retirement. Congratulations! You're now fully assimilated into the great unwashed brotherhood of the sea.
The sun hits its cruelest height. The air is thick enough to chew, and everyone is slowly roasting inside their own shirts. This is when tempers start to bubble like bad stew. It begins, as always, with rum. There isn't enough. There's never enough. Someone swears the barrel leaked. Someone else swears they saw the first someone inspecting the leak with a mug. Accusations fly. The captain hasn't even appeared, and already half the crew's forming a committee of vengeance. You keep your head down. A pirate argument is like a fire. You don't warm yourself next to it. You move away before it spreads. Next comes the missing sock scandal. A single wool sock, last seen drying on the line, has vanished. This is catastrophic because socks are worth more than silver. Theories range from theft to sabotage to the ship's cat expanding its wardrobe. Someone suggests the sock was sacrificed to the sea gods for luck. The owner does not find this comforting. The shouting builds. Words turn to shoves, shoves to a brief wrestling match that ends when both men slide into a barrel of pickled fish. The crowd laughs. The smell ensures nobody helps them out. By late afternoon, suspicion has ripened into paranoia. Every quiet glance is treachery. Every whisper, conspiracy. You, sitting quietly, become the quiet one, which is somehow worse. When the captain finally emerges, pistol on hip and eyes like storm clouds, the noise dies. Instantly. He surveys the chaos, declares everyone idiots, and sentences the loudest complainer to latrine duty. Justice served, pirate style, swift, public, and smelling faintly of vinegar. By evening, the arguments fade, replaced by muttered apologies and shared sips of rationed rum. The missing sock is never found. The culprit of the rum leak is never identified. But the day's heat has broken, and for pirates, that counts as peace. Nothing says team building like giving a group of sleep-deprived outlaws access to explosives. The gunnery deck smells of iron, tar, and past mistakes. The cannons sit in a row, huge, black, slightly resentful beasts that look like they'd rather be left alone. You're handed a long pole and an expression of false confidence. "Ram it in," says the gunner, a man missing more fingers than he keeps. You obey, immediately reconsidering all your choices. Powder first, then wadding, then shot. Every step has an equal chance of causing hearing loss or enlightenment. You pack the charge, tamp it down, and step back because you value existing. The gunner lights the fuse. A hiss, a pause long enough to reevaluate life. Then, boom! The blast is so loud your skeleton vibrates. Smoke pours out, thick and acrid, curling around you like the world's angriest fog. You cough, laugh, and check that your eyebrows are still employed. Reload, fire, repeat. Each round leaves your arms shaking, your ears ringing, your soul slightly less attached to your body. Black powder coats everything. Hands, clothes, lungs. You start to look like a chimney that made bad choices. Sometimes a cannon misfires. When it does, everyone stares at it like it's a venomous animal. The gunner approaches, taps the barrel, mutters a prayer, and if fortune smiles, nobody dies. After hours of practice, you're deaf in one ear and spiritually elsewhere. You've learned valuable lessons. Never stand in front of a cannon. Never stand behind a cannon. In fact, standing anywhere near a cannon is ill-advised. When the final shot echoes off into the horizon, the crew cheers. Weakly. The captain calls it discipline. You call it loud trauma with teamwork benefits. As the smoke clears, you realize something almost like pride stirring in your chest. Not because you hit anything, you didn't, but because you survived. And on this ship, that's the only score that matters.
Evening falls, and with it comes that daily ritual every pirate dreads, the captain's pep talk. He strides onto the quarterdeck like he's auditioning for thunder. His boots hit the planks with purpose, coat flaring, hat tilted at an angle suggesting both authority and mild wind resistance. The crew gathers below, an audience of sunburned, half-deaf men smelling faintly of cannon smoke and regret. The captain clears his throat. It's less a sound, more a declaration. "Men!" he bellows, as though unsure there are any women present, but unwilling to check. "You fought bravely today!" Everyone glances at each other, confused. Nobody remembers fighting anything except gravity and gastrointestinal distress. He continues anyway. "We are the scourge of the seas, the terror of the trade routes. The very whisper of our name turns merchants pale." You, who just spent an hour losing to a mop, nods solemnly. Sure, terrifying. He paces dramatically. "Tomorrow we sail for glory, riches beyond imagination, adventure beyond reason." Someone mutters, "and breakfast beyond digestion," and earns a backhanded swat from a meat. The captain's speech lasts exactly as long as the crew's attention span allows, which is to say, not long. But it's tradition. The yelling,
the lofty promises, the inevitable closing line. Now to bed and dream of gold. It's stirring in the way bedtime stories are stirring to toddlers who haven't brushed their teeth. The crowd disperses, grumbling but slightly lighter in spirit. The captain smiles, satisfied, certain he's inspired loyalty. He has not. But he has delayed mutiny for another day, and that's leadership in pirate terms. Once the captain's done shouting about destiny, the crew goes back to their favorite evening pastime, mocking each other's wardrobes. Pirate fashion is less about style and more about survival. Every item of clothing tells a story, usually a tragic one. Start with the shirts, theoretically white, now every shade of brown known to man. Torn, patched, occasionally reversible because dirt looks the same on both sides. The fabric clings to sunburned skin like a damp apology. Trousers are optional. Many wear them rolled to the knee, others hacked off entirely after losing patience or a leg. The unlucky few patch theirs so often they're more patch than trouser. Belts hold everything together: knives, pistols, and dignity. Without a belt, a pirate risks both wardrobe failure and social demotion. Footwear ranges from boots to whatever hasn't disintegrated yet. A single intact shoe is a symbol of prestige. Some wear rags, others just build up a tough layer of callous and optimism. Accessories are where individuality shines or burns. Scarves, earrings, bandanas, bits of ribbon stolen from unfortunate merchants. One man has a necklace made entirely of chicken bones. He insists it's lucky. Nobody argues because he's the one with the cannon fuse. The most coveted accessory, of course, is a hat. Not because it looks good, but because it provides the only shade you'll get all day. The captain's hat is enormous, a portable tent of authority. The rest make do with smaller, sadder versions that looked like wilted pastries. And jewelry? Oh yes. Gold teeth, rings, the occasional stolen brooch. It's less about fashion and more about proof of plunder. You wear your crimes like merit badges. Still, there's an odd charm to the chaos. Every pirate a walking museum of bad decisions and sun damage. When the moonlight hits, the tattered silks shimmer faintly. For a fleeting moment, they almost look glamorous. Then someone sneezes into their sleeve and ruins it.
By the next morning, the captain's speech has done its work. Rumors ripple through the crew like heat through the deck. A merchant ship nearby, fat with treasure, practically begging to be relieved of it. Treasure is the great unifier and divider of pirates. It motivates the lazy, inspires the reckless, and destroys friendships faster than spoiled rum. The map appears, a scrap of parchment covered in stains, questionable handwriting, and possibly ketchup. The captain insists it's legitimate. The quartermaster insists it's upside down. Debate ensues. Everyone has an opinion on which way north is. Someone uses the sun as proof, forgetting it moves. Someone else claims divine guidance from a talking parrot. Eventually, democracy collapses under the weight of dehydration. The captain declares a heading, and everyone cheers weakly. Days pass with the tension of children waiting for Christmas if Christmas involves scurvy and mild violence. Every glint on the horizon could be the prize, or a trick of light, or a hallucination. Hope and hunger blend until they taste the same. When at last a distant sail appears, the crew surges with energy. Orders fly, ropes creak, and suddenly everyone remembers what teamwork is. Cannons thunder, smoke billows, the sea erupts with chaos. After the din fades, the prize ship lies crippled, her crew surrendering, her hold heavy with barrels and boxes. Treasure! The word itself vibrates in the air. Gold coins, jewels, bolts of silk, each piece glinting with promises of freedom and excess. The pirates fall upon it like children at a candy store run by chaos. They count, argue, recount, accuse, threaten, reconcile, then argue again. One insists he saw a diamond shaped like a chicken. Another claims his share by right of seniority, though nobody remembers him doing anything useful. In the end, the quartermaster divides the spoils with the impartial fairness of someone who doesn't want to get stabbed in his sleep. Everyone gets a handful of coins, a few trinkets, maybe a spoon. The captain gets double, naturally. The mood turns festive. Songs rise, mugs clink. Someone does a cartwheel that ends in mild concussion. For a few fleeting hours, the ship feels almost happy. Then reality returns. The gold is heavy, the ship slower, and the risk of pursuit tripled. The treasure's shine fades under the weight of paranoia. You hide your share beneath your bunk, certain someone's already plotting to steal it. As night falls, the laughter quiets. Everyone lies awake, clutching their spoils, listening to the creak of wood and the whisper of greed. Treasure makes pirates rich, briefly. Then it makes them enemies, permanently. Night descends in a smear of purple clouds. The air grows thick and uneasy, like the world's holding its breath. Old Pete squints at the horizon, mutters something about angry weather, and vanishes below deck. Always the first sign that angry weather is, in fact, incoming. The sky rumbles. The crew looks up as if surprised that the sky can do that. A streak of lightning splits the dark, close enough to show every terrified face in high-definition horror. The storm has arrived. It begins with wind, playful at first, then personal. The sails thrash, ropes scream, the mast bows like it's reconsidering its career choices. Rain follows, horizontal and vindictive. It hits your skin like pebbles, finds every exposed inch, and declares ownership. Orders fly, furl the sail, secure the cannons, tie down anything that isn't nailed or anyone. You grab a rope, instantly regretting it as it whips your hands raw. Water sloshes ankle deep, then knee deep. The deck tilts to an angle that would make a chair slide forever. The sea becomes a living thing, black, heaving, laughing at your insignificance. Waves slam the hull with the sound of collapsing buildings. You can't hear anything but wind and heartbeats. Someone screams, "We're going under!" Someone else screams, "No, we're not!" The truth, as usual, is somewhere in between. For hours, maybe minutes, time melts in storms. You cling to life and wood, praying both stay attached. The lightning flashes again, illuminating faces drenched in rain and panic. Even the captain looks less majestic, hat plastered to a skull like a wet accusation. And then, as suddenly as it came, the storm decides you've learned your lesson. The rain softens, the wind exhales, and the sky opens just enough to show a single smug star. Everyone collapses where they stand, soaked, trembling, but miraculously afloat. Buckets appear. You begin bailing with renewed reverence for the concept of up. Morning reveals the damage. Shredded sails, splintered rails, one missing barrel, and a general sense of trauma. But you're alive. And in pirate math, alive equals winning. You sip a mug of rainwater collected overnight. It's the freshest drink you've had in months. You laugh weakly. The sea laughs back.
After the storm, there's always trouble. The captain's hat is missing. His hat is his soul is furious. Suspicions rise faster than the tide. The accused, a deckhand named Soggy Bill. His defense, I didn't do it. The evidence, circumstantial at best, comedic at worst. The crew assembles on deck for court. a circle of damp jurors, one slightly cracked gavel, actually a belaying pin, and a parrot acting as bailiff. The captain presides, pacing before the crowd like a thunder cloud with legs. He demands confessions, swears vengeance, promises fairness, all in the same sentence. Soggy Bill protests. Someone throws a biscuit. Justice has begun. Pirate law is simple. Everyone gets to yell until the captain feels better. Witnesses shout over one another, each story wilder than the last. Apparently, the hat was last seen dancing, or maybe stolen by a seagull with a grudge. Eventually, the parrot screams, "He did it!" The captain, taking this as divine testimony, declares Bill guilty of hat theft, mutiny, and having an untrustworthy name. The sentence? Keel hauling. The crew murmurs approval. It's dramatic and, most importantly, not happening to them. Bill is tied with ropes, lowered over the side, and dragged beneath the barnacle-covered belly of the ship. He emerges minutes later looking like he lost a fist fight with a coral reef, but somehow still breathing. The captain nods, satisfied. Justice has been done. Then, with theatrical timing, the missing hat is found, wedged behind a barrel, damp but intact. Everyone stares at it, then Bill, then the captain. A long silence. Finally, the captain clears his throat and announces, "Let that be a lesson about barrels." The crew cheers because that's safer than laughing. That's pirate justice. Arbitrary, loud, and always slightly wrong. Night again. The ship creaks gently, the sea calm for once, moonlight painting silver lines across the deck. The crew drifts into sleep one by one, hammocks swaying, snores blending with the rhythm of water against wood. You lie on your plank bed, the smell of salt, tar, and old smoke filling the air, and for the first time, it almost feels peaceful. The stars above are sharp and cold, indifferent but steady. Somewhere far inland, people are brushing their teeth, sleeping in dry beds, unaware that you exist. You envy them, briefly, then let the thought drift away. Your skin still burns from the sun, your muscles hum with exhaustion, and your mind softens around the edges. You think of the storm, of gold coins glittering in lamplight, of rats dancing on barrels. You smile despite yourself. Being a pirate isn't glorious. It's hunger and heat, salt and sores, boredom broken by terror. But it's also strange freedom, the kind that comes from being too far gone for anyone to tell you what to do next. The ship rocks, the ropes groan softly, a gull cries in the dark, or maybe it's just the wind pretending to be company. You close your eyes. The sea murmurs beneath you, patient, eternal. Tomorrow there will be more work, more shouting, maybe another storm. But for now, there's only the hush of water and the slow fading of thought. Sleep, sailor. You've survived another day in the most miserable paradise imaginable. And remember, next time someone says they want to live like a pirate, you can smile, roll over, and let them find out the hard way.